Good morning, everybody. It is April 3rd, and it is time for our Game Plan Book Club. So my name is Skyla Mann. You guys probably know that if you are watching this replay. But today we are going to focus on three chapters, chapters 12, 13, and 14 from Sarah Harnish's book called Game Plan. We're going to do things just a tiny bit out of order because the bulk of our book club today will be focused on chapters 12 and 13. So I wanted to actually begin with chapter 14 because it's a little bit easier. So chapter 14 is all about tools and all of the different things that we have available to us to make this business easier, to take some of the guesswork out of it and that sort of thing. So in our business toolkit, there are really several things that we can use. I'm just going to highlight the ones that Sarah talks about, and then what I would love is in the chat box, I would love for you guys to add in what other tools have you found that have been especially helpful on your journey. So it may be resources, it may be apps, it may be just methods or systems that you have figured out. But let's go ahead and make this kind of a brainstorming session. So of course, the number one tool that I think probably just about all of us have come to love is Oily Tools. And I am ever so grateful coming to you today that Oily Tools is alive and well and thriving and going to continue for our business building resources. Some things that I wanted to make sure that you guys do, and first of all, how many of you, just by a quick show of hands, how many of you use Oily Tools? Okay, very good. So Oily Tools, I would say it makes sense to get Oily Tools probably by the time you are executive and committed to building. Senior stars, if they have made the decision that they're in it and they're moving forward, it's a great thing. But honestly, well, Oily Tools wasn't really even around in the early days when I started, but you can definitely do business just fine, for sure, up through executive without it. But once you get it, I can promise you, you're never going to want to be without it. So it has a lot of statistics that if you were someone that really loved crunching numbers, one of those green personalities, I know that you could get into your virtual office and you could figure all of these things out manually. But it is so easy at the touch of a button to be able to use the app to calculate things like what is my PACE OGV, what percentage of my team is on essential rewards. When you know those numbers and those metrics, then you know what you can do about them to raise them, okay? So sometimes it's nice to graph that information, to just jot it down in your planner each month so that you can reward yourself with the fact that you're making progress. Some of the very important things that I use a lot, I text from my Oily Tools app all the time. So every time I get a notification that someone has ranked up, I just hit the text button right there in the app and I text them a congratulatory graphic or a note right there. And I don't have to go look up a phone number. It is so simple. So if you have Oily Tools, I want to make certain that you know that you can turn on or off your notifications. And Brian and I were sitting next to each other one day just last week, and my phone was blowing up with products that were going in stock and out of stock and new members that were enrolling. And he said, my Oily Tools doesn't do that. And by the way, that's another tip. If you are married, your spouse can put the Oily Tools app on their phone at no extra cost. Did you know that? And that's a very, very fun way for them to get excited about supporting you in the business, because I promise you that when they can watch your paycheck go up, they will suddenly start cheering you on a little bit more. So you can check with Jake Dempsey or check the search bar, put in the search tool on the Oily Tools Facebook page and find out how you add a spouse. I think you have to go into the website part, into your account, and add another user there. But you can turn off your notifications. So if you want to be notified when new members rank up, that's an option for products that are going in and out of stock, for people who enroll their first member, all of those different things, you have the option to either be notified or not. And I just think that every one of those touch points is a wonderful opportunity to connect with your team. So I don't care where somebody is. I think I'm 16 or 17 levels deep now in a couple of legs. And I don't care where anybody is. If they enroll their first member, they're getting a note from me. And I will just take that opportunity to introduce myself and say, you know what, I'm in your upline. I just love to, connect with people. I noticed that you just enrolled your first member, and I just wanted to say congratulations. And they may think that's totally weird, but more than often, I hear back and say, oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you. Like I've seen you on Facebook or whatever, and they're shocked that I would take time to text them. Well, you guys know how long it takes to send a text, right? It's like 20 seconds. You can crank something out. And if you save a couple of graphics on your phone that just say, congratulations on your new member, or congratulations on hitting star or whatever, it makes a huge difference. Amy, thank you. I'm glad that you typed that in, that it made a difference when I sent you a message. And I'm not going to take credit for Amy being here or being a business builder, but I can promise you that the likelihood of someone engaging goes up when you connect. So just find reasons to connect. That's our job, right? We're networkers, professional networkers. So there is so much to do with Oily Tools. I would recommend that you go into your Oily Tools and play around with the reports to find out what you can do. Sometimes I just have to set aside a few minutes with no agenda and just say, I'm going to push buttons and I'm going to see what I can do. And I encourage my new members to do the exact same thing with their virtual office. Just go in and start clicking on everything. But set aside an hour or so just to find out where it takes you, okay? Or if you're not in Jake Dempsey's Oily Tools Facebook group, make sure that you join that, because that guy offers literally up-to-the-minute customer support. So any question that you have, tune in there, and he will be able to help you. We can find money missers. That's a really important one. So that people aren't missing out on commission checks. And I don't know, there's just a lot of other metrics. My new members and my new stars, I always get those reports from Oily Tools so that I know who to send things out to for gifts and that kind of thing. So I guess one quote that I will just leave you with in terms of Oily Tools is, whatever gets measured gets done. So if we just kind of waltz through this business and we're never really keeping track of anything, we're not going to grow. But if you pick what it is that you want to measure, and I don't even care what it is, you guys, that's the cool thing. It might be your ER percentage, it might be your new members, it might be your percent of team growth or the number of enrollers that you have every month. But pick something to measure and measure it every month. And I guarantee you, the mere fact that you are watching that and consciously thinking about it, it will grow. Okay? So Oily Tools is just a great app that helps you do that. Second resource is Taxbot. Taxbot, I don't know how many of you have that one. God, well, my Taxbot is mad at me right now. It says that my session has expired and I need to log in. And because my office is currently in the garage and being remodeled, I lost my little book that has all my passwords in it, so I don't remember. Anyway, we'll get that figured out here soon. But Taxbot is what can help keep track of mileage and expenses. You can use that on any scale. So if you want to put in, you know, outside expenses like product that you buy or courses that you take or events that you attend, there's a way to input any of those expenses in there. I think most frequently the members that I know use it for gas and food because it's kind of an on-the-go thing. You can take pictures of the receipt right in the app and it will log all of that and keep things very organized so that when it's tax time, you have a document that you can just deliver to your accountant or for yourself if you prepare your own taxes, and that just helps get that done a little easier. There is a discount for Young Living members on Taxbot, so if you you go to the back office, and I can't even remember, that has been so long ago. If somebody remembers where it is on the website, you can type that in the chat box. I can't remember at the moment, but it's probably in our member resources somewhere down there, okay? Just know that there are tons and tons of tax advantages, and the more that you keep track of, the better your business will thrive, the better it will run. Okay, next up, Sarah talks about planners. I'm just gonna skim over this because to me, this is one thing that everybody, it's so personal for what we like. And my only advice, I have seen some really, really good ones. I know Diane showed me one that she's using right now. Diane, if you have that handy, you can hold it up and show them. And anybody else that has their favorite planner, you can, type in where you got it, what you like about it. I am a pretty simple person. There we go. So Diane's is kind of specific to Young Living. Mine, I have figured out that I really like to do time blocking, and it's more about knowing Monday morning is for this activity, Monday afternoon is for this activity. Perfect, Diane, thank you. And if you want to type in just like what it's called or where they can look at that more, that would be awesome. Sarah Harnish recommends one called the I Bloom Planner. I have not seen that one in person, so I really can't say anything about it, good, bad, or indifferent. I know a lot of people in the past have talked about Passion Planner and just the way that is laid out. I will just say that it's personal. Just figure out what system works for you and use it. There you go. Amy, do you do time blocking in there, kind of, or not yet? There we go. Now, okay.
Quick. Don't unlock the door. Yeah, I kind of think time blocking, I just kind of block out, what I'm doing when. But the Passion Planner also has, like, what's your focus for today? And then it has good things that happen. So it reminds me, like, throughout the week, I make a little bullet point, and that way I write down little things that were good. And so if I have a gloomy day, like today, I go back and I look at the good things, and I'm reminded of that. So
I love it. Thank you.
Reminded.
Excellent. Okay, and Diane did mention it's the oilposse.com where you can look up that planner. So I appreciate that. And any other time, if you find, a method, somebody, I'm trying to remember which member it was. It might have been Stacy Rhodes or, oh gosh, I can't remember. Somebody was doing the bullet journaling and really was making that work where everything is kind of a list. So just figure out what system works for you, but then own that system and make it work for you. That would be my advice. Okay, resource number 4, the Oil Ability website and all of the free stuff that she has there. I think that those of us that have read the game plan know that there's a whole bunch of information that we can tap into for free. Bless her heart. So definitely use that. Resource number 5, Sarah calls brain food. And this is where literally we could probably spend 2 hours on this topic. There's a plethora of excellent materials that we need to feed ourselves on a regular basis. In our group, I think probably most of you that are on this call know that we are very partial to Jim Rohn. Anything that he has written, we're big fans of Richard Bliss Brooke, particularly that 4-Year Career. Have any of you read the 4-Year Career for Women? That's also a great resource. I have, let's see. It looks like this. And this was written by Richard's wife, Kimmy. And it is very similar in nature, but it is geared specifically towards women. So if you are very passionate about empowering women entrepreneurs, and you've got some real go-getters that are focused on the business side, that may be a good tool to look into. Obviously, Eric Worre's GoPro stuff, I'm a big fan of. I really have enjoyed and gained, just tons of knowledge from attending the GoPro network marketing event. And I highly encourage you to consider that, to consider budgeting that in as your personal development, because it is extremely helpful. My only wish is that they would move it out of Las Vegas and to some other city, because I don't love Las Vegas, but that's not my choice. So he's got, 30,000 people that are willing to go, and it's worth it. So Eric Worre's Rise of the Entrepreneur DVD is another excellent resource. Every now and then I talk to members who say, my cousin kind of interested, but doesn't really like that network marketing business model. And that DVD to me is the answer as far as having a third-party tool that really beefs up why network marketing is a viable business opportunity, why people should take a look at it. And I have found that extremely helpful. There are so many other books that I could mention. I know if Sonia was here, the one that she would say is mandatory for every person to own in their library is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. How many of you guys own that? Okay. If you don't, you need to get it. And if you do own it, you need to read it. Because there's a difference, even for me, between owning it and reading it. If we subscribe to those principles that are in that book, it will absolutely transform not just our business, but our entire way of living. Because it's basic principles that we want to teach our kids, that we want to teach our grandkids, that we want our neighbors to notice about us. It's just so helpful. The other thing I would add, she doesn't have down here in her workbook, but anything by John Maxwell. A lot of you are at the point where you already have, or you are stepping into a real leadership role. And John Maxwell, as far as I'm concerned, is the authority on leadership development. And you guys, I gained so much knowledge and appreciation for John Maxwell's teaching over the course of the past 3 months as I went through my coaching program with Eric Walton. And I feel like I was learning from John Maxwell via Eric. But any of John Maxwell's books are going to feed your soul. His 21 Laws of Leadership are amazing. You could literally just take one chapter a week and use that kind of as a devotional personal development time, and it would just expand your whole way of thinking. When I read any of those, I feel so compelled, like, I'll read a paragraph and I'm like, oh, I need to do a Facebook Live to my team. And I can't come to you as often as I feel like I should or want to. But it's just that rich. Every paragraph is something that you could quote and make a graphic out of and share with people to kind of raise, the value of what you have to bring to the world. So just surround yourself with those really, really good resources, and it will ramp up your business and your life. Okay, so that's the extent of chapter 14. So now let's go back to chapter 12 real quick. And chapter 12 is all about what to do if nobody is coming to class, okay? Oh, Mandy, I just read your note. You've got somebody coming for a business meeting. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome. I was so lucky when I was over in Western Iowa for classes this last weekend. I was able to have a business building session with 2 members that are also cousins of Brian's, but it was so nice because they could just come over to my mom and dad's, and we had supper together and were able to visit for a couple of hours about how to strategize and start building their business. So anytime you can connect with your team like that, just in a relaxed setting, go have coffee or go out to lunch or supper or whatever, that it's going to spark ideas. Okay, so nobody's coming to class. What do we do? There are 3 reasons, Sarah says, that people avoid you, and only 3. Okay, so I love Sarah because she's pretty darn red and she kind of cuts straight to the chase. So she says, they avoid you because you are hunting them. They are missing the education connection between coming to class and getting the kit, or because you spew negativity and are not a leader that they want to follow. So those are 3 pretty direct, pretty hardcore reasons. We talked in depth during the blast training about hunting versus fishing. Do you guys remember that? And hunters go after because they're hungry. They're coming from a place of scarcity. They need to get a catch. They need to bag the kill, right? And people can sense that when you're coming at them with that hunter mentality. But if you're a fisherman and you stay positioned, you have posture, stay where you are, metaphorically, okay, and you cast the vision, you cast the samples, you cast the value, and you let them come to you. You attract your prospects to you, okay? There is such a difference there. And if you're having a hard time moving from the scarcity mentality to the abundance mentality, we have an oil for that, right? We can use abundance. We can use believe. We can use those tools that we have, and it's just so much more attractive. In your Facebook posts, you have the ability to fill those posts with abundance or to scare people away with scarcity. I see Mandy just wrote, yeah, she's got a friend that's a Yoli distributor, and she wants them to sign up too badly. Like, I want you so bad, but when it's too much, when it's over the top, it's like, no thank you. Even if it was a great opportunity, no thank you, because you seem desperate. So we have to come from that space of, I don't need you, but I would love to have you join me, but I don't need you, because you are one person, and I'm going to build this business with hundreds of thousands of people. It might be you, it might not. It will make a huge difference to you. It will not make a huge difference to me, because there are more people out there for me to talk to. That's the cool thing about where we are. We don't put all of our eggs in one basket. We have the whole world to choose from, but we just don't want to be arrogant and desperate in how we talk to people, okay? So let's go to number 2. They are missing the educational component between getting the kit, and attending a class. So Sarah says we need to be educators. We need to, let me think here. Sorry, I'm trying to read my notes that I've scribbled in here. We need to remember to put ourselves in their shoes. Okay, this is critically important because when I went to my first class, if Sonia had told me everything that she had ever learned about oils in that first class, I probably would have been there for about 8 hours, and I would have been completely overwhelmed. It would have not been something I would have wanted to duplicate, for heaven's sakes, and it would have been a real turnoff. Now, even still, you guys, it's so tempting when I'm doing a class. I want to tell you one more story about what lavender can do, just one more. But if I let myself do that with every single oil, that's how my intros turn into 2.5-hour classes. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Okay? So have empathy for your new member and give them just enough so that when they leave that first class, they want more. They cannot wait to get together with you again to learn more, okay? Don't give up on them. We have to start where they are. So here's the other tricky thing. Everybody's on their own health journey, right? And some people have already ditched chemicals and they're already shopping at Whole Foods and eating organic. And they're just like, oh, these essential oils are that one component I was missing. Great. They're going to be super easy. Some people, for those of you that were in Webster City and you heard Shannon Hudson, some people are drinking 4 2-liter bottles of Diet Coke a day, and they think that's a healthy choice. Okay? We can't be arrogant and mock them and turn them away and say, oh my gosh, you are not a viable candidate for this. This is for healthy people. You just got to love on them where they are and then gently answer their questions and help them move along that journey, okay? So just be an educator with heart. Okay, number 3, ditch the negativity. This is so important, and it's a hard one because in life, just like in business, there's going to be times when you're disappointed. It's just part of life, right? I mean, it's not going to all be roses. And you may have had your feelings hurt. You may have had an infraction with a friend over something and now they won't listen to you. And it may be a team member, okay? So we have to use our oils as tools, first of all, thank goodness we have them, as tools to get over what we're being hurt by. So you guys, forgiveness is a very important oil, and so is release. And they can both be placed over the liver, and it's really, really helpful, okay? If you have, in your past, if you have trauma or abuse or very significant hurt, you may have grown up putting barriers around you for self-preservation, just for protection so that you could navigate life and get through it successfully. If that is the case, there are lots of healing options. Sarah certainly named the one that I would choose first, and that is to connect with a group that is extremely loving and supportive and caring. So find a good church that you can grow in, get professional help, find a counselor, find a therapist. There is no shame in that, folks, just in case you needed to hear that. I have seen them over the different seasons of my life, and I find it very, very helpful to bounce ideas off of someone who is not in the situation. So if you need help, get it. It's totally fine. Your mental and physical health is of the utmost importance. So wherever wherever the source of negativity might come from, whether it's from others, from the outside, or from past hurt from the inside, you got to figure out how to get rid of it, because negativity does not attract positive, optimistic people. And what's going to happen is, remember, it's like attracts like. So if you're coming from a negative space, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but that's what you're going to attract to your team, is more negativity. So you've got to have a major paradigm shift so that you can change who and what it is that you attract. So think about Sonia and her wisdom when she talks about conscious languaging. That is one of my favorite talks ever. But we truly do have the power of life and death in our tongue. And whatever you speak out is what is going to come to pass because of the laws of the universe. So we just have to be careful to train our tongue to speak out that which we want to have happen, and speak it out as though it has already happened. That's the real trick. So walk in faith, believing that good stuff is coming your way, has come your way, and for goodness sakes, thank him for the blessings that are already all around you. One simple step, page 19. This is sage advice from Sarah Harnish that I would definitely echo. Before you speak, pause. And if what you are about to say is harmful, hurtful, negative, anything like that, reconsider it. So just learn to pause just a moment and run that through your mind. Is this, whatever I'm going to say next, is this going to serve me and serve others? If not, you might want to reconsider letting it out. If it is truly your heart's desire to grow a thriving Young Living business, you have to do it in a way that lifts people up and encourages them. Because if people see nothing to follow, they will look for another team. Guard your words and only speak words of life. They either build up or tear down, so use them carefully. If we master these 3 skills and have a genuine heart as you do them, being real and raw, you will inspire people in all walks of life. And I do believe that that is true. So there's some things just to be mindful of. Chapter 13, Keys to Confidence. This is the one that we will wrap up today with. Your confidence really is going to make or break how you view yourself and how you view the future of your team. So if you do not have confidence, no one is going to trust what you're saying. And Sarah says, I would agree with her, it's the #1 reason that she sees people unable to fill classes. So here's one super simple tip. When you are before a group of people or you're doing a one-on-one, I want you to always remember that no matter what, you have more essential oil knowledge than the rest of the room. Even if you're just beginning, you've already got your kit and you've probably turned on a diffuser, and that alone sets you ahead of the people that you're talking with. Now, I also think it's totally fine to be transparent and tell people, listen, I don't know everything. I'm still learning also. Let's learn together. I think that that is a very attractive and very humble and transparent way to approach things, is just to say, listen, I'm still learning too. And I say that all the time because it's true. I will never be at a place where I feel like I know all that Gary Young knows. And even if I did get to that place, which I won't, Gary, if you talk to him, you know what he would tell you? He's still learning too. He's still researching and still figuring things out on a daily basis. So just be on the journey and be who you are. That's right, Mandy, you can use this tonight, girl. You don't have to be anything but who you are. Just be real, transparent, And that in and of itself, I think will be very attractive to those people that are joining you either in a class or in person. Okay. Let's see here. Lack of confidence can come from many different places. If you set goals and repeatedly fail to reach them, you end up telling yourself that you can't win. It can come from losing hope. It can come from being abused. But here's the thing, God did not make you that way. So I love when we go back to little kids that are first learning things for the first time, like learning how to walk. If a toddler literally gave up on day 2 and said, shush, this is too hard, I keep falling down, I'm just going to crawl for the rest of my life. I mean, that's just such a ridiculous thought, right? That's not how life works. You just keep doing it and you keep doing it until it becomes second nature, and then you just pop up and you walk, okay? Confidence is something that cannot be taught. It has to be lived out and experienced, okay? But having a good system to work with is definitely something that will give you confidence. The other thing I will say, back in that last paragraph, when she said, if you consistently set goals and repeatedly fail to reach them, let's talk about that for just a second. I'm all about 2 kinds of goals. I'm about the short-term, low-hanging fruit, easy win kind of a goal. And I'm also about the audacious, bigger than life, makes your head spin kind of goal. And I think that there is a place for both of them. But if I set my weekly goals, something just insane, like I'm going to do 75 classes in the month of April, and I'm going to have 15 people at every class, and I'm going to enroll 100% of those 15 people. Like, that's just crazy. Exactly, Amy. The BHAG goal, right? The big, hairy, audacious goal. So if I did that for April, I would even laugh at that goal because it's not realistic maybe for this time. Maybe somebody could pull that off. But what is realistic is to say, okay, I'm going to be extremely consistent. Every day, I'm going to call 2 members of my team and touch base with them. And every week, I'm going to have at least 2 classes. And those are things that I'm in charge of that I can do. But my big goal is that, in 4 years or less, I'm going to be a Royal Crown Diamond. And you just back it up until you can break that down and figure out, what do I need to do today that will serve me in that other goal? So if you don't know what today's goals are, that's where we got to start. What are your daily income producing tasks that are going to propel you towards whatever the big goal is? And I can promise you that if you get super specific and very consistent about those little goals, I guarantee you that success is yours. Because very few people that I watch in this business are truly consistent. It's this, woo, good week, bad week, good week, bad week. And if we are consistent, even in the little things, just call a couple of people a day and just check in with them and see how they're doing. Love on your team. It will propel you forward like you will not believe. Okay? Sarah says her favorite resource to get over emotional blocks is working with the First Steps to Success with Danny Johnson. Now, I wish that I could tell you that I have personal experience with this, but I have not been to a Danny Johnson training yet. If any of you have, or if you plan to attend, I want to hear all about it. I know that Britta has gone, and as far as I know, I think she might be the only one in our team, under Sonia anyway, that I'm aware of. So we can kind of tap into her and see what she thinks. or follow some of Danny Johnson's teachings if that's something that intrigues you. I know that she has one that I've listened to the whole CD set called Time Secrets, and that's about time management, and that was very insightful. Danny Johnson addresses every kind of block that you may have. She teaches how to understand personality types and how to connect with leaders, how to stop emulating a person who is afraid, how to stop making excuses, how to get out there and execute, and it's worth every penny. So what I can tell you about Danny Johnson is that she has quite the following, and that for a lot of people who go to her training, it's not a one-time deal. They love it so much that they want to go again and take more of their team with them to the next one, and they end up going several times a year. So I haven't gotten to that point where I have latched onto that yet, but certainly if that's a tool that is helpful for you, go for it. Let's see, she lists on page 123 a lot of the excuses that tend to block people, and we all have our own list, so just kind of maybe take time to reflect on what is it that holds you back. And as soon as you kind of bring it out into the light and you can name it, it's a lot easier to deal with it. So if it's a fear of public speaking, if it's a fear of, going out and meeting new people face to face, whatever it is, just kind of own that, and then you can start to move around it. She talks about another key to confidence is eliminating the word try. I don't know about you, but I almost get a shiver up my spine when I hear someone say, I'll try to be there, or I'll try to hit star this month. You guys, I am so hypersensitive to it. You have the inside knowledge now. Don't you ever use that word with me, because I will so call you out. Yeah, I'll try not to. But it is the most pansy word I can think of in the English language. You either do it or you don't, but you don't try. Okay? Anyway, I think that's really all that I need to say about that. But get that word out of your language and it will make all the difference in the world. Okay? Let's see here. What else? Danny Johnson. So let's see. I guess we're getting near the end of this. I think that one of the things that goes along with this key to confidence, well, what's up? Oh, why are you not in school? Are you homesick? No.
Actually, he was on a mission trip, and he got either stomach flu or ate something bad, and he was home all day yesterday, and not today.
I'm so sorry.
But I missed him.
But he's so cute. I love it. Well, it's good to see you, Will. Too funny. I hope, but I'm not going to assume, that each of you are very clear about your next rank up goal. Here's a fun little fact. I did a report last night for the month of March and calculated how many people on our team have gold volume and are not gold. And it's a lot. And I'm looking at 2 of them. And here's the exciting thing. There should be a compelling force pulling you forward when you know the pieces to the puzzle and you know the steps to get there. All of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I can totally do this. Okay, now I just happen to be doing gold because I had thought about it and I'm tossing some ideas around in my head. But for sure, I want each of you, no matter where you are, you jolly well better have written down on the wall what are the requirements for OGV and legs for your next rank. You need to know that. If I quizzed you, you need to know. I was talking to Heather Osterheis. Heather, if you watch this, I'm totally calling you out. But I was talking to her this weekend, and I said, okay, you've successfully hit platinum a number of times now. What's your month for diamond? What are you aiming for? And she chuckled and she said, Skyla, I don't even know the qualifications for diamond. And I said, then how are you going to get there? Right? So at a moment's notice, if I ask, what is the qualification for the rank that you have not hit yet, the next one up, you got to know that. And then we just start working it backwards, okay? What needs to happen? Is it volume in a leg? Is it OGV? Cammie knows it. Good job. But that tells you then very specifically, where do you need to focus your energy? Right now, I am solely focusing my energy in growing the legs that I need for Crown Diamond, because that to me is the piece of the puzzle that needs the most energy. The overall group volume can come from anywhere. But if I can get all my legs in order, then, you know, collectively we work as a team, and everybody, you know, I can help anybody and everybody anywhere to raise OGV. So just be really clear, name a month. What do you want to have as your month to rank up next? Okay. And then we just start planning classes. We get super clear about, if you're going to do a class, who are you doing it for? And we want to do it for the people and the legs that we need. Not that we're ignoring the others, but this is a business, right, guys? So it's okay to be super specific about where that activity is happening. Where do you make care calls? In the leg that you need to grow, okay? And who do we pay attention to? You pay attention to the ones that are hustling, the ones that are the squeaky wheels, the ones that have goals written on paper that want to move forward, okay? So there's my pep talk. I'm just super excited about what is to come, because now, you guys, we got tools that we can replicate, and we have systems that we can help teach people. So every single one of you, I hope that you've been promoting to your team Gameplan and talking up what a blessing it is, so that you've got 2 leaders that you're training up under you. Remember, that's the system, right? You learn the game plan, you do the system, and then you pick which 2 leaders do you want to train up and take through this. And you can use these videos. You can certainly use Sarah Harnish's videos. And you can just read it together. I mean, yeah, you have to go. See you, Rachel. So yeah, we're over time here. Sorry about that. But I just think this is such a great system because we can replicate it. And I'm kind of upgrading my language to the word replicate, you guys, and taking out the word duplicate. And that's because I know that I am different than Sonia, and I'm not going to duplicate, as in photocopy exactly the same thing, everything that she is doing. Nor would I expect you to do everything exactly like I am doing. But what I want you to do is replicate everything that's working, replicate it in a way that works for you. So Janice's system is going to look different, but she's going to develop the pieces and continue to do the pieces that grow the business in her life and in her business. Does that make sense? So I'm starting to favor the word replicate over duplicate. There you go. All right, guys. I think that is a wrap for today. We got through 3 chapters, so way to go. Next week, we are on to chapter 15, which, does anybody here have a blog? Seems like, Sarah, are you blogging? No? Okay. For some reason, I was thinking that you had one. Next week, chapter 15 is all about the idea of blogging, which is something to consider. It's definitely not something that is required, but it is a very good way to build up your online audience, okay? It's all about delivering quality content and giving people something to come to. Chapter 16 is the FDA compliance training. So we will talk about compliance. I think that will suffice, those two chapters. So 15 and 16 for next week is what we have planned. So thank you so much for joining. We will see you next Monday at 11:45 Central.